former kickboxing champion who's famously dubbed on the internet as the epitome of toxic masculinity, Andrew Tate, has been back in the news after his second appearance on the Piers Morgan show in the past few months. Now, Tate said on the show that he was heartbroken about the way things are going in the UK's major cities right now. Now, Piers Morgan, who has been in a lot of controversial situations himself, posted a second interview with Andrew Tate to find out what Tate thought about England and the British society. The top G did not like how things have been going at all. When asked about the UK, he declared that the country is a failed society. When he was asked what nationality he identifies with, Tate said that he considers himself British now. But the patriotic Brit inside of him is devastated by the UK currently. He wanted to make it very clear that the patriotic Brit inside of him truly loves the country. And seeing what's happening to it, especially to the major cities, is almost heartbreaking for him to watch in real time. Now, Tate emphasizes that Britain is indeed falling apart and is a failed society by every metric. But what are these metrics that Andrew is talking about? What really makes a failed society in Andrew Tate's perspective? Number 1. The cost of living. According to The Guardian, as the price of everyday foods in the UK, such as baked beans, biscuits, pasta, instant coffee, and long life milk goes up, not only is demand higher, but each pound does not go as far. In February 2022, a standard bag of food, which had enough food to feed one person for 3 days, cost 24.78 pounds. But today, the same amount of food already costs 34.11 pounds, which is a rise of 9.33 pounds, or almost 38%. So the price of a bag of food for children has actually gone up by 47%, or 8.24 pounds to 25.75 pounds. So prices for staple foods like bread and cereal, as well as supermarket value ranges, have gone up the most. So this means that inflation in food prices is happening faster for poorer families. So when food is given out on this large of a scale, donations from 100 bins in local supermarkets are no longer enough. So this is exactly what Andrew Tate is talking about. Number 2. The crime rates. It was also mentioned during Tate and Morgan's discussion that everyone they know who has dealt with crime in London in the last few years, no matter how big or small, has had a bad experience with how it was handled. Tate also said that the UK is not only a failed society, but also a godless one. In many of his content on social media, he confronts the crime rate status of the UK and explains how bad the cases of stabbing actually are. He says that every day, even in broad daylight, there are many cases in London where people are stabbing and willing to commit murder in public. So that's one case per day at the minimum. In fact, Andrew has told a story before that he himself got stabbed in London and almost lost a finger. He even mentioned during the interview that he recently witnessed someone walking and then suddenly get robbed in the middle of a store. So because of that, Tate believes that a threat in itself is not violence. Again, these threats that he receives every day mean nothing to him, because these are not violence per se. For him, violence comes without warning, as he has seen multiple times in the UK's major cities. Alright, so now that you guys have made it all the way here, we've got a bonus item for you. Another factor by which Andrew Tate measures if a country's society has failed or not is the culture of morality. Tate has always mentioned that he believes in God, and that is one of the things he looks at in the countries he travels to. Do the people there respect religion? Is there an overall recognition for tradition and values? Finally, at number 3, the system of leadership. Tate said on the Piers Morgan show that if you compare it to a country like the United Arab Emirates or a city like Dubai, London, which should be the greatest city on earth according to him, fails in every way because the government is a joke. He adds that if you take a look at Dubai and the United Arab Emirates, the leadership is so perfect and brilliant that they have almost built a utopia. If you look at London on the other hand, Tate believes that you can't even walk around with a watch on. And that to him is disgusting. According to Tate, in the UK, they send their old people to old people's homes to die there. Then people sit there and say, "We don't have enough money for nurses." Now he said that he knows how frustrating it actually can be when you go to a hospital and the nurse is not ready to work, which is why he understands the nurse strike as well. Because the nurses would actually be willing to work for the current wage they have if they see that the government was spending the money wisely. According to Andrew, when you see how the UK spends its money and just throws it away, pulling it out of thin air to pay for proxy wars, it can be so hard to feel good about it. God only knows where those things are and what to do with them. So as a nurse, it's natural that you're going to stand up and ask for raises. So now you have the major factors that Andrew Tate considers in determining a failed society. He believes that the only countries that he considers to be good are places where he can walk around freely with $1 million watch, with no fear that someone would randomly stab him for it. Aside from that, he also prefers those countries where corruption is actually rampant, because to him, corruption is in every country. He would just prefer the countries where the corruption is accessible for him. So, what do you guys think about Andrew Tate's comments on the UK and its major cities? If you're from the UK, would you agree that it really is a failed society or not? Tell us your thoughts in the comments section. Until next time.